Hello, everyone. It's been a long time, hasn't it? It's been a while, and you guys in the chat are loyal chasers. I've missed you. And Big Man, I have missed you too. How are you, mate?
Likewise, Johnny. Hello and welcome to all the listeners and viewers. How have you been, man? It's been ages since we last recorded.
It's crazy. I look back at Game Week 29 and I'm like, that's a very distant memory, probably well forgotten. But yeah,
Exactly.
I've switched off to FPL really until probably Monday this week. I started getting back into the groove. Like I write a sort of 1,000-word article every week, and I wrote that on Monday and sort of then started thinking about FPL. Did a bit of research, scout members area, blah blah blah, and then by today I think I'm back up fully swinging and ready. But it was nice to have the break, and now it's relentless, right? We've got a game week on Tuesday, game week 31, and then no breaks. So we probably needed that rest for what will be the final sprint.
Exactly. It's the final stretch of the season. This is basically the business end, and this is where you make all the gains that eventually lead to the rises in overall rank. So hopefully it works out well for us. But yeah, it's been a well-deserved break for almost every content creator out there. But now looking forward to the rest of the stretch.
Yeah, exactly. And the internationals, there's been no big dramas in terms of like players necessarily getting injured. There's been a lot of flags on a lot of players, which
but that's standard.
International injuries like De Bruyne, Gabriel. These guys aren't even Gusto at Chelsea. Like these guys pulled out of squads to make sure they're fit. Saka to make sure they're fit and ready for the running for their clubs.
Palmer as well. Palmer was a yellow flag as well, but apparently he has trained separately. So everything has sort of gone and resumed from normal. And speaking of Game Week 29, before we move to Game Week 30, how was your Game Week 29? I mean, of course, I assume it must be very, very bad. It must be very low scoring. But how was the free hit?
Let's have a look. I mean, I should know.
You've forgotten.
Score's been staring at me for the last 2 weeks, hasn't it? The scores, like 19 I got. So my free hit achieved 19. My bench achieved 16. Yeah. My 4 bench players pretty much matched my free hit 11, which is outrageous. I didn't get a single return in my 11 other than Emi Martinez picking up some bonus points. And on my bench, Gibbs White got 7, Vitinho got 5, Areola's 3.
Gibbs White was the star for me. I got 21 points as well, which, like, weirdly speaking, I'm okay with in the context of the low scoring week. I think 21 feels decent.
21 was. I mean, I got a narrow with 19.
Yeah, that 7-pointer from Gibbs White feels like
huge.
It feels like 20 points in a normal week, because when no one around him is scoring any sort of points, people are picking up red cards. I mean, for God's sake. So that was very welcome. And free hit in 29 didn't grow great. But the thing is that we avoided hits. I'm not sort of trying to justify it, but I think it's worked out. I think it's worked out well given how the fixtures announcement have come out. And I'm actually sitting here with my transfers for the next 4 or 5 weeks looking very, very obvious. And it's sort of worked out well for us, given the fact that we avoided hits. We fielded 11 in 29, and now a lot of teams that we already have a lot of players from, for example, Arsenal, Bournemouth are doubling in 34.
Yeah, we got lucky there.
Spurs are blanking in 34 as well, and we were going to sell most of our Spurs players for the likes of Salah, Van Dijk, Darwin anyway, right? So it sort of worked out well where you can field a decent team in 34 as well as having a solid enough team before the game weeks preceding it. So I don't necessarily mind that. It sort of worked out well.
Yeah, we also got to go big on Bournemouth and Luton in the double of 28, which worked out quite nicely, especially for those that had gains of like Zabani or even Doughty popped up with an assist. So having those transfers worked. For those that free hit, I don't mind. I don't see it as wasted at all, because I think the overall strategy in the weeks before and after the free hit are what we have to consider, and we're in good positions if we did free hit 29. If you didn't free hit 29, you've got a really nice option in 34, which is great, and we now know Game Week 34 has, I think, 7 additional fixtures. But those that didn't free hit, and let us know in the chat, if you didn't free hit in 34, maybe we'll do a poll. When are you wildcarding? Are you wildcarding in 30-31, which was the original plan because you were dead ending to that blank game week 29? Or now you've seen all those doubles, are you going, it's worked out all right for my team. I'm still going to free hit in 34. I'm going to buy the likes of Spurs and Chelsea now, if I want to, and Man City. So not the same group of players everyone else is buying, because they're buying 34 doublers. I don't need to do that because I'm free hitting in 34. And actually, I can wildcard in 35, 36 with the rest of the crowd. So if you didn't free hit 29, let us know. We'll do a poll. Are you wildcarding 31, 32 or 35, 36? What do you think? What do you think many
I think it's actually worked out well for everyone, because people who still have the free hit left can wildcard now. Or if they don't need it, then they can wildcard in 35. They can free hit in 34 and bench boost in 37. So I think it's been a win-win case for everyone out there. I don't think there's been any, let's say, wrong strategy when it comes to chip strategy this season. Sort of worked out well. And let's say I was speaking about those of us who free hit in 29. The good thing is that we can then wildcard in 35 and get players from Spurs and Chelsea primarily, because they're the two teams that are likely to have two doubles in 36 and 37. And apart from that, you can load up on Newcastle, Man United for their double in 37, as well as their fixture in 35. With now, bear in mind that Newcastle playing Sheffield United at home in 35 and Man United playing Burnley at home in 35. So these fixtures are there to be gained from.
Yeah. On the options we put in the chat, 34, 35 is actually 35, 36. But you guys know what we mean. We mean 30. We mean after the double game week of 34. So 35, 36 is the option for the second one. Sean says, Gianni, I think a majority of the people will be wildcard in 30, not in 32. Yeah, I was thinking more 31, Sean, to be honest. I don't like a 30 wildcard because Man City and Arsenal play each other. We are going to see a wildcard draft from Big Man very soon. Coming up in today's show, we've also got Bigman'S team selection. We're also going to address the three big questions of the game week and, of course, look at the all-important fixture ticker. Now it's pretty much set to the end of the season. Big Man, shall we kick off with some of those questions? Where do you want to start? Should we start on Mo Salah? Because while we need to talk about the wild card, I don't want to talk about it if we can't show it on screen. And we've got a few technical difficulties that mean we can't show the wild card draft on stream. So we'll do that in 5-10 minutes when we can. Shall we just go straight into Mo Salah? Because many are buying him this week. And whilst I'm not, I would love to own him. I do think you can wait till game week 31.
I fully agree. And the main reason is that even though Liverpool have a good fixture at home to Brighton this week, Spurs have Luton at home. So for those of us with Son, I think Son is as good a captaincy choice as compared to Salah, if not better. And then you can, let's say, save a transfer this week and look to getting Salah next week for free, which works well. And there are plenty of enablers out there. Now you look at the fixture schedule that's been announced. You look at Wolves, for example. Now, the likes of Sarabia and Cunha will be very popular next week. Now, I say that because Wolves are playing Burnley next week. Then they have West Ham at home in 33. And then that's followed by a double in 34. And these guys are less than 5.5 million. They're very, very cheap. So Watkins to Cunha, or let's say, in my case, Richarlison to Sarabia could be very popular. And it could be handy in enabling Salah. Because not only are the Wolves guys cheap, they're nailed. And they also sort of fit the bill perfectly, where you don't actually have to hold them for the long term. You can then wildcard them out after game week 34, and they have good fixtures next week.
Let's just show the fixture ticker then from Ben Krellin, because I want to see these Wolves fixtures, because I must admit, I knew they were good. And Ait Nouri's a player I really like. I've got defensive issues. So we'll put the fixture ticker from Ben on screen now, and we can just see why. Cunha did return to training, by the way, yesterday I saw as well on Wolves' Twitter. Yeah. So he might not be good for a start in 30, but by 31, definitely 32. And that double is a good... I mean, it's Arsenal and Bournemouth, but they're both at home. Like, that's a tricky place for Arsenal to go. And against Bournemouth, you could see a win. So, and then it's Luton off the back of that. So, yeah, the fixtures are very kind to Wolves. Do you think...
And the price as well.
The price, yeah, all their players are cheap, right? They don't have expensive assets. And the likes of Cunha, who will be on penalties, playing number 9, having a great season until he got injured. I think he may have even got an international call-up on the last call-up. So, like, this is a guy, he's got caps for Brazil.
I'm not sure about the call-up, but the injuries to Hwang and Neto have sort of worked in their favor. Now, the injury to Hwang means that Cunha is likely going to be on penalties, and he's obviously more nailed as well. And with Neto getting injured, that means that... Sarabia is likely to stay nailed on the left-hand side, and he's also going to take the set pieces, which Neto generally takes. So this is why I think this fixture schedule works really well if you're looking to buy Salah next week. I don't think a lot of people will have a problem in affording him because of the options we have available.
To afford him, you might need to downgrade Sarah Watkins. So first question is, are we happy selling Watkins, who has been arguably the game's best player this season? And second part of that is, do we need to sell Son in 31? No one wants to sell Son ahead at Luton, but knowing Spurs now don't play in 34, selling Son sooner rather than later is an option. It's one I personally don't think I like. Let's see how he gets on in 31st. But yeah, you could sell Son in 31 to enable Salah.
I think selling either is perfectly fine. I have no problem selling Watkins either, because Villa don't have a double, and when you look at Aston Villa's fixtures, they're playing City away in 31,
It's
which
a
isn't
good point
ideal.
to sell him, and then it's Arsenal
and
2 weeks later.
Arsenal in 33 as well. That's away as well, so it's fine if you want to sell him. And similarly with Spurs, the fixtures are all right, but I assume that Son will be the placeholder for a lot of people looking to buy Salah, because especially for those who don't have De Bruyne. Now, for those with De Bruyne, you look to upgrade De Bruyne to Salah, but for those without him, I think selling Son will be popular.
You might have to sell both. I've got De Bruyne and Son, and I'm looking at 31 thinking I might have to offload both of them and Watkins, because I need money in my back line.
Oh, you'll have to sell all three. That's very surprising.
Yeah, I can. It depends if I want Darwin or not. If I want Darwin, I've got to sell all three. If I don't go Darwin, I can sell just Salah and Watkins to say, sorry, I can sell De Bruyne to Salah, Watkins to a Mateta or a Cunha or a Meniz, and then I can go Doherty to Saliba. That's the kind of plan. And then I keep Son. But I really want Darwin.
Darwin is, his fixtures are, of course, they're great heading into the double. So he's a bit of a no-brainer. But the sort of thing I'm considering is that if anyone is to get benched against Sheffield United, it's going to be him, because that game is sandwiched between two fixtures, and that game is before the United fixture, where you'd ideally think that Darwin will be needed. And the other sort of caveat is that Darwin is on 8 yellow cards. He's 2 yellows away from a 2-match suspension. If he gets booked against Brighton, it will get very dicey. It will get very, very dicey, because looking at that fixture schedule, that United fixture sort of screams a yellow card to me as well. So he sort of has to avoid a yellow in.
It gets wiped around those 34, fixtures. Does it? For Darwin, it's around 34, I think so. I think he's got like 4 or 5 games. 34. Jackson's got a couple more. He's on 9. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. Fair point. Let's do a poll. Will you own Salah in game week 30? Yes or no? It's okay. So going back to Mo Salah, big man, is he a move for you this week or next? Next, because I want to afford him for free, and I think that Son is as good as a captaincy choice as Salah this week. So I'll look at buying Salah in 31 for sure. Yeah, okay. No, I like that. Hello to everyone in the chat. Please do hit that like button and subscribe. The subscribe button. Loads of lurkers there. You know, if you want to subscribe, you just got to press that one button. It takes 2 seconds. Okay. The Mo Salah conversation is good. We like the Liverpool fixtures. In game week 31, Salah's going to be mass captained. Big man, I've not looked into this. International minutes for Mo Salah and Darwin. Did Darwin pull out of the squad for Uruguay? I feel like he did. I'm not sure. I'm going to Google that whilst we're chatting. Yeah. Do you know much about Salah's international break? Nope. No, but I assume he played. I assume he played. He rarely doesn't. We'll or maybe someone in the chat can let us know. But just looking at the fixtures, it's Sunday for Brighton, Thursday for Sheffield United, Sunday for Man United. So Sunday, Thursday, Sunday could be worse. At times you see Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday. But then again, remember they're in the Europa League. So again, straight away in that midweek between 32 and 33, they play Atlanta, which is going to be a difficult game against Atalanta. Like, they're a good team. So yeah, Salah didn't play yesterday and wasn't on the bench, says Luke. That's nice. Darwin and Salah both didn't play, apparently. Darwin didn't go. Yeah, I didn't think Darwin went. That's good. Both had a little rest. I assume that both will be fine this weekend. Robertson went off, of course, by the way, yesterday. Don't know if you saw
Yeah,
that.
that could be. Yeah, if he's out for a while, then Tsimikas becomes
An opportunity, especially for those on
exactly,
wildcard.
especially for those on wildcard. Exactly. Um, I think he could be a gift because a lot of people are going with Connor Bradley. In fact, in my wildcard draft, I've gone with Connor Bradley, which is a draft I made before the injury. But we don't have any concrete news on Trent either. So it's sort of tricky. But now we do have these enablers emerging. There's the Lascelles from Newcastle as well, with Botman out for quite a while. I think he's out for the rest of the season actually.
Yeah, he is.
So
ACL,
in which case, Lascelles could become a good option.
Yeah. How do you feel about, big man, the double Arsenal defence question? Because Arsenal have been the best defence by a country mile this league. They are top for everything. Do we need double Arsenal defence for the next 4 or 5 weeks? Or because of the likes of Lascelles, or because of the likes of Tsimikas or Bradley, knowing Newcastle and Liverpool also have good double game weeks, can we go, I'm going to save that 1.5 million and instead of buying Saliba, buy one of those players I just mentioned?
Gianni, it's funny because we're approaching game week 13. We're still asking the same question, and I remember in game week 10 or 11 we were discussing the same thing. And I mean, these guys, they continue to print points. They're just very good picks. So I don't really see the problem with doubling up. I've had both Saliba and Gabriel, and I've done really well.
Yes, but the money,
and I've benefited from both of them.
It's the money. I want to go and buy a 4 million defender, not a 5.8 million defender.
I think Raya, for those of you on wildcard, I think Raya plus Gabriel is very easy to get to. But for those who don't have an Arsenal, I don't think you have to sort of buy one next week either, because you can just buy one in 33 for free rather than, because next week, of course, the Liverpool guys will be the priority. So you don't really have to go out of the way to force them in against Luton. You can just buy them in 33. But yes, triple Arsenal is highly advisable because of the double in 34.
Yeah, I should mention Newcastle don't double in 34. I think I mentioned that they might do. They don't. Sean says Kelleher's a steal on wildcard 30. Sean, just check the Alisson news. I think it's very likely Alisson is back very, very soon. Therefore, Kelleher, I think, would be a bad buy and not around for long. Sean also says about Gomez playing left back. Sean, you're right. He had some very good games at left back. He also had a couple of horror shows at left back. One, I think, was in Europe. So, yeah, he's been playing well, though. Fair play. And he can also slot in at right back or anywhere in the back line. We know that Liverpool back line has got injuries. What do we know about Trent, big man? Because game week 34, again, if you're buying Bradley now, you've put in Bradley in your wildcard draft. But by 34, if Trent's back, Bradley's vulnerable. Yes, sure, they can both play and Trent plays in midfield. But likely Bradley would drop out. By 34, if Trent's available, which we think he probably will be, we're all going to own him, aren't we?
Not necessarily, because funds will be an issue now with Haaland, Salah.
Well, you sell Haaland in 33.
Saka.
You sell Haaland in 33. Sorry, after 30. You sell Haaland.
You don't sell him before Luton at home in 33.
You sell Haaland in 34 because he's got Brighton away, and with that money, you invest in 2 brilliant double game week options. One of which is Mo Salah. Is Trent.
It's doable, but I don't think a lot of people without the free hit and who are looking to wildcard in 35 will have that luxury of using so many transfers, because a lot of us will be buying Liverpool players right now, and I think by 33 Van Dijk will be the one a lot of people will look to go for from, let's say, someone like a Porro because of the blank in 34. I suspect that will be popular, but if Trent is back fit, then he could be an option, but I still think that he will be a step too far for us. He'll be a bit of a stretch because I don't think he will fit the budget constraints.
Okay, yeah, I like that. It's fair enough, and budget is definitely going to be tight. And the midfielders,
you have 4 million defenders at the moment, and you're thinking of buying Trent.
I'm thinking of buying Trent, and in my little transfer planner I've got on an Excel spreadsheet. Yes, I do have one of those. Everyone, I know. You're surprised by that. In game week 34, I have 2 free transfers, and I sell Haaland and bring Trent in. That's the plan. But we all know those planners go out the window when you just get one simple suspension, injury, or lack of form or whatever. Hello to CH, who just joined us as well.
I think buying a Liverpool defender in 33 will be popular because that's a week where a lot of the teams won't have the good fixtures, so they'll need a defender in that week. For
Yeah.
example, we look at Spurs. Spurs are playing Newcastle away, right? Arsenal have an okay fixture at home to Villa, but not everyone has double Arsenal defense. Even Bournemouth have United, right? So Luton have, a lot of people have Luton. They have Man City away. I do think that buying a Liverpool defender in 33 will be popular as opposed to in 34. And in 33, you won't have the Trent funds.
Yeah, nice. Okay, let's move on
That's
to the
big.
wild card. Finn's put a wild card 30 team. Finn, we don't see you around here much. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. Finn, we're going to show you Bigman'S wild card. So thanks for your suggestions. We like it. Let's see how yours matches up to Bigman. So Bigman, let's have a look at your wild card draft in 30. Who are you going for and why?
Let's bring it up on screen. Yep. So this draft assumes that you will be free hitting in 34. I suspect that's the popular combination because a lot of people who are wildcarding this week are free hitting in Gameweek 34.
Yeah.
A couple of things. I have put Connor Bradley in, but we don't have any information on Trent yet. This slot could be Lascelles. This could be Simicast, depending on the severity of Robertson's injury.
Yeah.
Onana
Bradley
could
scored
be
a
Raya.
worldie, by the way, last night for Northern Ireland. He scored an amazing goal. If you've not seen Bradley's goal from last night, YouTube it.
Okay, I'll start from the goalkeepers. So I've gone with Petrovic because Chelsea have a good run of fixtures from now on in. They're playing Burnley at home this week, then Sheffield United in Game Week 32, and then they have two doubles in 36 and 37 most likely. So he sort of picks himself because a lot of the Chelsea defenders, apart from Gusto, none of them really appeal. So I think Petrovic is fine, and I think he's performed well enough to have safely secured his starting position.
Yeah.
I think the other keeping slot is tricky. I've gone with Onana. You can go with Raya. I think both of them are perfectly fine. These are the two goalkeepers that I really, really like. I was considering Ederson, but I didn't go for him because, as you can see, I've sort of gone with the City defender instead. And I don't really want to triple up on City because at any point in time, you might want to go with Foden or De Bruyne if any of them hit form. So I don't really want to commit to triple City in this draft. Coming to the defense, I think it sort of picks itself. I've spoken about Bradley and whether he can change, but Gusto at his price and if he's fit is great with the doubles coming up. Gabriel, again, we've spoken that Arsenal are the best defense statistically for XG conceded this season. I've gone with Porro because we're assuming that you're free hitting in 34 and Spurs have two doubles after that. They have Luton at home this week. So he's a good pick as well. I've gone with the City defender, which is sort of different from the template. But I've gone with Diaz because he, at this point in time, I think he is the most nailed City defender, if I was to guess, because he sort of seems to start with or without Stones in defense. And Guardiola is sort of at risk from Ake. We don't really know about Walker. He sort of went off injured. So at this point in time, I simply assume that Ruben is the best to own. And with City's immediate fixtures after this week and their double in 37, you need a City defender ideally.
Fair,
and we've seen generally that City at the end of the season, that's when they really started. They're really, really clutch at this point in time, and they just keep clean sheets for fun. So I want a City defender for this run. Now, coming to the midfield, I've gone with Salah. Salah picks himself. Palmer and Garnacho are excellent enablers, considering their double in 37. Palmer has an additional double in 36, most likely as well. And the fact that you're bench boosting in 37, so you need a strong 15. And picking Palmer and Garnacho helps you afford the rest of the team, which looks good on paper. And what I've also noticed is that they sort of rotate really well as well. Very similar to Petrovic and Onana. Basically, the fixture schedule works well. And then
this
I've
is a
doubled
free
up
hit
on
34 team, everyone. If you're just joining, this will mean this wildcard is if you're free hitting in 34. That's why you're light on Arsenal, for example.
Exactly. I've gone with Richarlison and Son because of their fixture this week, and I prefer Richarlison to Maddison in general as well.
Do you? That's interesting.
Yeah,
I prefer Maddison to Richarlison just because of the minutes guarantee.
He's number 9 and he's cheaper.
Is he number 9?
Cheaper.
Is he number 9?
Very, very, very likely. I mean, very, very likely.
Fixture dependent, I reckon.
He's performed well enough this season to come back in. I would be very surprised if he doesn't start against Luton. And then The big omission you can see over here is Saka in midfield. I don't have Saka.
That's
And that's
huge.
the big omission. The problem with Saka is that because I think that Son is the best captain this week, and because I want Salah and Haaland, and because
Yes.
I'm making this team with a bench boost in 37 in mind, I don't have the funds for him. So he's
Yeah.
the one who is the sacrifice. And I think he's
and
fine.
Watkins. But
Watkins is fine. I think a lot of non-free free hitters will be selling Watkins anyway. I don't really look at Watkins as a compromise because yes, this week's fixture is good for Watkins, but so is Isak's, right? So it's fine. I mean, I don't really think that's too big of a deal because everyone will be selling Watkins next week anyway. A lot of people will be. I mean, let me correct myself. So the big miss is Saka, but with this draft in mind, I think you can sell Son for Saka next week.
I can't believe you've gone Richarlison over Saka. I would go Saka.
I don't have the funds.
Well, yeah, you just downgrade Isak to Maniz or someone.
Yeah, but then you're losing out on a doubler later.
Yeah, but worry about that later.
No, I don't like booking in that extra transfer and missing out on the double later. That's the thing. That's why I don't have Muniz because he doesn't have a double.
That's the problem with wildcarding now and bench boosting in 37 though. The problem when there's a big gap between wildcard and bench boost, whether you're wildcarding now or next week or you did 2 weeks ago, if you're bench boosting 37, it's really tricky because you're wildcarding with a week in mind that's 2 months away, and you're wildcarding without dead spots because, of course, you're thinking I need 15 good players, which is going to give you some headaches and less money in your 11. The wildcard, sorry, Chai, I know you're in the chat. You wildcarded a couple of weeks back. Wildcard and bench boost always have been played well together, and that's why 36 wildcard, 37 bench boost for me is going to happen.
I sort of agree. It's tricky to plan a wildcard. Simply the main problem and the main curveball is the Spurs blank in 34. That's what really makes it tricky.
I love
that.
I love the fact we've got a blank, and then Spurs and Chelsea double doubles in likely 36 and 37. That makes it really interesting.
And it adds to the merit of a wild card in 35 or 36.
Oh, yeah.
As well. That's the thing. And up front, I think Darwin and Haaland sort of picks themselves in either strategy. I think Isak is dependent on whether or not you have the free hit left. If you have the free hit left, then you can go with Isak because when you look at Newcastle's fixtures, they're playing West Ham at home this week, then Everton at home, next week. And then they have the double in 37. So Isak is a good long-term hold, especially with Wilson out. His minutes aren't really a concern. He's been playing well. But if you are on a free hit 34, then I prefer going Solanke.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I like that. And with Solanke's double in 34, obviously.
Sorry, I sort of messed it up. If for those who don't have the free hit, you should go with Solanke because Solanke.
I knew what you meant. Yeah.
Yeah. I sort of messed it up in my head because Solanke has a double in 34 and he has a good run of fixtures leading into it. So those who don't have the free hit should buy Solanke, and those who have the free hit should buy Isak. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Okay. So that's and they are very similar price points. Isak's slightly more expensive, but yeah, that works. Isak is a big injury risk of FPL, but he's not injured till he's injured. And I do think with injury risk players, when they're fit and performing, you pick them. And then when they get injured, you sell them. And remember, we do get a transfer each week. If you like the fixtures and you like the player and you like the team the player plays for, then don't not pick Isak just because he gets it. By the way, Isak's just played twice for Sweden in the last week. I think he's played 100. I think he might have even got 180 minutes in those two games. Like, Isak's fine in the minute.
Yeah, that's right. Gianni, I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on this team and how would you tinker or differ from it if you were making your wildcard draft?
Yeah. Firstly, I just want to say I do not like the wildcard in 30 for the reasons we've said about 37 bench boost. But also, if I was wildcarding in this window, it would be next week, not this week. And I think... Go on.
Okay, I'll present a counter argument, right?
All right.
A lot of people have bought Luton players. They've bought all the garbage for game week 29. And a lot of people have sold Haaland. A lot of people have sold Ford and all these guys. They don't have them.
Yeah.
So their team in game week 30 looks really bad. So I can see the argument for wildcarding this week. I don't think it's the worst idea. I think if your team requires it, it's perfectly fine. But I agree with you generally that the merits and the appeal of a wildcard after game week 34 seem greater than that of this week.
For me, we talk a lot about entry points. The entry point for Arsenal is clearly a bad one this week. If you're wildcarding in 31, you're not going with one Arsenal player. You're just not. And I like more than one Arsenal player in any wildcard team ever for this season. So again, I don't like the fact you'd only have one Arsenal, but also for me, it's the information. There's still a few unanswered questions. I want to know about Trent's injury, and I'll know more in 31 because we'll get an extra press conference, an extra few days, extra training ground photos, blah, blah, blah. I want to know if Bradley's a legit option. I want to know if Simicast or Gomez is going to play left back. We'll know by 31. I want to know if Richarlison and Son, what the dynamic is there. Is Richarlison straight back into the team as the number 9? I'm not sure he is against Luton. I think Son starts number 9 against Luton, but let's see. So there's still unanswered questions. 31 also gives us better entry points on some teams like Arsenal. And arguably like Man City, like I think I would still probably have Foden in a wildcard team, but let's see how he plays in 30. He played poorly.
I think they're better midfielders. I don't think I'd pick him.
I mean,
no double in 34 is the issue.
No, true. But this is a free hit 34 team, remember? So I would have Foden, I think. And I'd be.
Over who? Over who?
Well, I said I'd have Saka for Richarlison, probably Foden for Garnacho, and then I know that means Isak is a Maniz. And then it's probably no Ruben. Actually, I wouldn't have a Spurs defender. So Pedro Porro would be straight out. That would be 8 Nori.
The issue with Foden is, one of the other reasons I sort of ignored him is because I think he could be at risk in 33 because that Luton at home fixture is sandwiched between the Madrid tie. It's right before it, actually. So it could be a dicey fixture. For Foden. And for his price, I just find it very hard to sort of justify.
Yeah. Will says, so how many Arsenal will you have on your 36 wildcard, Gianni? Maybe none. But by then, I think it's a different ball game. We're playing literally with 3 game weeks in mind. It's very different to a 9-game stretch. But I'll tell you at the time. Stay tuned. You never know. Maybe I'll have double. Okay. Nice, big man. So am I right in thinking we've got a second draft of your wildcard?
Yes, it only differs very marginally. I've gone Raya over Onana, and I've gone
I like that.
Solanke over Isak, because this draft right here, this draft number 2, this assumes that you won't be free hitting in 34. The first one was with the assumption that you will be free hitting in 34.
Yeah.
But the rest of the team remains the same for the reasons mentioned earlier.
No, we're talking about injured players with Isak. Reece James is back training, just FYI. I think Gusto's still good for a while. And Gusto's been amazing, by the way, but James is clearly going to get some minutes. But he's 4.2, so you can chance it with Gusto and sell him when he's out of team. Bradley's really interesting. Like, I like Bradley for myself. I really want to know Trent news. Like, Bradley is a potential transfer in for me this week. Not going to lie. I saw his goal last night and was like, this guy is so good in attack. And the Brighton and Sheffield United fixtures really do lend itself to a potential haul from a player as exciting as Bradley. These aren't 6-point fixtures potentially for Bradley. They're way more. He offers so much going forward. Okay, big man, let's move away from wildcard team. We're still going to see your team, but before we do, what other big questions did we have? We had Salah, we had wildcard. Should we talk a little bit about captaincy?
Yeah, I think we should. I think it's a tricky decision for a lot of people who own Salah and Son. What is your take on captaincy for people who have both?
I still think the Son fixture gives huge ceiling potential. And I know Spurs have let us down a little bit recently. Like, no one thought they were going to go to Craven Cottage and get beat. Like, we just didn't call that. But Luton are so naive. Like, they only play one way. And I really like Luton and I really hope they stay up. And I think they've got a slim chance of staying up. And that they will have a go. And they'll probably score. And they'll probably have a ton of penalty area touches. But one thing they will do is concede chances. And I remember watching Spurs versus Luton, the reverse fixture. I was on holiday. It must have been October. And I think I had Pedro Porro and Son in my team. And I remember they missed a hatful of chances in the first 5-10 minutes of that game at Kenilworth Road. And actually then I think Spurs, was it Basuma, got sent off and Luton scored around half time. And I think it was maybe a draw, or I can't even remember the result. But it was an underwhelming FPL performance from our Spurs assets. But it was one of those games where I was like, Porro should have had 15 points. And I think we all captained Son, who should have had 20 points. And I just feel like we're going to get the same again.
I owned Son. I had him as captain. I also had Porro in that
Nice.
fixture. And while he got the clean sheet, I was disappointed because he missed a couple of glorious chances, like you mentioned.
No, Luton scored. Porro didn't clean sheet, I don't think.
He did. They won 1-0.
Oh, was it one? Oh, it was Van der Ven, wasn't it?
It was I don't remember who scored.
Yeah, Van der Ven got the goal.
It was 1-0 though. It was 1-0. I remember I got the 6 points from Porro, but it sort of still felt underwhelming.
Yeah, because that first 10 minutes, I remember Son and Porro combining a couple of times for like a couple of really near misses. And I just watching that, like Spurs tore Luton. I mean, Luton have been torn apart a few times this season, but that first 10 minutes I've not seen in the Premier League for a long time, a team being that battered in the first 10 minutes of a Premier League football game. And for Spurs not to score was unbelievable. And I just think Spurs against Luton this time has a potential for a 4-5-0. Like, who knows? So I'm pretty locked. For me, it's between Son and Palmer. Like, I don't own Salah. If I owned Salah, would I go there? I still don't think I would. I still think I prefer Son and maybe even Palmer to Salah.
Maybe even Palmer to Salah.
It's a good fixture, Burnley. I mean, Chelsea have been scoring goals of late as well. Like, Chelsea don't score much under Poch. The last month or two, we've started to score goals. And Palmer, again in the FA Cup before the break, like, he has shown himself to be he delivers like a premium.
Okay, I would say that I would buy Palmer over Salah this week because of Palmer's fixture against Burnley at home, and because he really just is a great enabler for the rest of the season. But I think that Salah is a better captaincy option than him this week if I had both.
Yeah.
Simply because he's Salah, and Brighton are very open as well, man. Like, Brighton will have a goal as well. I don't really rate the Brighton defense as highly.
You never know with Brighton, though.
Chances.
Brighton are a team.
They're a very difficult team to predict.
If they went and won 1-0 or 2-1, you wouldn't be blown away by that. If Burnley got a result at Stamford Bridge, you'd be proper shocked. Like, we know Chelsea are winning that football game. We don't know Liverpool winning that football game.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I don't know. I've got a soft spot for Brighton. That's why I don't love the Salah captaincy this week.
I don't know about the result.
Hand on heart, say Liverpool going to beat Brighton.
I don't know about the result, but it's just that Brighton seem to concede a lot of goals, and I just like that fixture for Salah. Having said that, I still think that if you own both Salah and Son, that Son is a better captaincy option because Luton are just the worst side for XG conceded this season. They have so many injuries. And I think Spurs will sort of bounce back as well after their result against Fulham.
We don't know about Doughty, do we? He's injured. He's one of the flags that isn't an international injury flag. He obviously went off in Gameweek 29 at half-time. Hoping Doughty's fit. I need him to start this week.
But I'm hoping that
Spurs bad my defense is.
I've tripled up on Richarlison, Son, and Porro, so that fixture is huge for me this week. Jen, what are you doing with your team before we come to my team? Let's discuss your team for
my team's a mess.
Couple of seconds.
My back line is Gabriel, Zabani, and Doughty, with Bell on my bench, who's injured, and Taylor on my bench, who plays Chelsea away. Like, I have a shocking back line. I'm really reluctant to use a defensive transfer this week because next week I'll probably be using it on Saliba. And
Gabriel is your premium defender this week, and he's playing away to Man City.
Yeah, honestly, it's the worst. And Doughty probably won't play, so I'm gonna have Taylor. So I'm tempted to make a cheap budget defensive transfer. If we were here, Trent's gonna be a while. I could go Bradley. I could go Aït-Nouri. They're the two I like.
Are you planning on keeping De Bruyne?
Yeah,
but
De Bruyne. I think this is the week. This is the De Bruyne fixture. This is the week he rewards the faithful, those that have stuck by him and seen him get all those cup goals and cup assists. Well, now he's going to deliver in the Premier League against Arsenal when no one saw it coming.
I mean, he is a big game player. There's no doubt about it. But it's just that your defense sort of needs strengthening, and you will be benching a good attacker for De Bruyne, right? Because you have a benching headache in front of it.
No, Saka on the bench, I'm fine with.
Saka, yeah, I think I'll bench Saka in my team as well this week.
I'm fine benching Saka this week. I really am. And look, there is a chance De Bruyne doesn't play. Maybe his injury is worse than we think. I don't think it is. I think it's just an international injury. But yeah, I don't want to make wholesale changes this week because I don't want to sell Watkins this week. and to make wholesale changes, Watkins needs to come out my team, and Wolves at home is a good fixture. Selling him next week makes sense. And I'm not desperate for Salah this week. I think you can wait till 31. So in 31, my plan was Saliba, Salah, and a budget forward in for Watkins. So 3 transfers, but possibly even 4 and a -8 with Sonny out as well. But let's see. And then I can get Darwin.
They've got some big plans going forward. But I mean, to be honest, my defense this week does not make for
Come on, let's have a look at your team
either
then.
because sure.
Your defense is better than mine, but you're right. You having double Arsenal
playing
against
Gabriel as
Man
well.
City. Are you playing one or both?
Of course, I'm playing one. I don't want to play both. I'll be playing Gabriel.
I'd be playing them both. That's how bad my backline is.
I mean, Gabriel jammed a goal for me when he was at Anfield, and he got me a 10-pointer. So I'll give him another chance to do something similar. But apart from that, it's fine. I mean, Neto, Zabarni, the home fixture against Everton, it's all right. Everton, I do expect Everton to score, but they're the sort of team that just miss so many chances. So there's a chance I can get lucky.
With Areola, you don't want to. No, you've got Zabarni.
No.
Because I've got Dubravka and I'm starting Dubravka over Neto. And I've got Zabarni.
I think I would as well, but because Newcastle's odds for a clean sheet are similar to Bournemouth's, but I think Bournemouth's clean sheet odds are actually much better than West Ham, so I'm not considering playing Areola. Yeah. I'm confident that Newcastle will score, but I think there's a chance that Everton don't score. So I want to go ahead with that possibility. Then I have Porro in defense. Hopefully I can get something from him in this fixture. Son will be my captain, Foden, Richarlison, Palmer.
Yeah.
Palmer vice captain, and then Solanke, Haaland, and Watkins up top. Saka will be on the bench simply because he has the toughest fixture of my front 8, with Saliba and Taylor joining him on the bench. I don't think I will be making a transfer this week. I want to save a transfer this week with the view of getting Salah next week.
So you're happy to get... I know Richarlison is Luton, but you're going to... And I know you think he's going to start number 9, but you're going to be benching 90-minute Saka for 20-minute Richarlison, I think. But I think I'd still take 20-minute Richarlison versus Luton.
I won't say I'm confident that Richarlison starts, but I think he starts. So I will take the risk.
It is worth noting, Brennan Johnson went off at 70 minutes last night for Wales. I've not looked into this. I just saw it on BBC Sport. I was really surprised to see that sub, knowing it was 0-0, going extra time. I wonder if Brennan had an injury. And if Brennan is injured, that may affect the selection at Spurs, i.e. Richarlison's chances of a start are higher.
I mean, if we get a leak before the deadline that he isn't starting, then I can just play Saka over him. That's fine. But at the moment, this is likely going to be the team. I think this is one of the easiest decisions that I have to make this season because none of the transfers really stand out. And I think my team will be served well if I save a transfer and then probably press the accelerator to buy Salah next week.
Yeah. FPL Harry, I think I just saw it in the chat. I'm just looking. It looks like Saka is out for 30. If that is FPL Harry, which I think it is, then that's obviously legit. Harry is not a booner. Yeah, that could be interesting. That certainly helps those on Wildcard that are looking to go without Saka.
Certainly helps Man City as well.
Helps Man City big time. De Bruyne, up your step, boy. If Saka's out for 30 though, that must put 31 in at risk for the Luton fixture because when do they play? Is it Tuesday or Wednesday? I think it's Wednesday off the top of my head, but
yeah, it's a midweek fixture irrespective, right? So it will be tricky because I assume that even if he's half fit, they'll likely play him against City, and if he's not playing City, then that does sound alarm bells for the midweek fixture as well.
What's the source on that, Harry? I've not seen. I've just had a quick look at my timeline on Twitter, but haven't seen anything. Although, have you, big man?
Nope, I haven't.
Let us know what your source is there. Is that a fake Harry? Hang on. It's a fake account. Oh my God, that is amazing.
We got trolled.
That is amazing. You guys in the chat know it too well. As if there's a fake FPL Harry. Is that what this has come to? Like we actually have fake FPL YouTuber accounts. Unbelievable.
FPL Harry is a proper celeb now. I'm sure we must admit.
Clearly. there's a fake FPL. I mean, Christ, has really people got nothing better to say? I mean, I like the Boona.
It's come down to this.
I like the Boona stuff, and I think it's funny, but to actually be in disguise on YouTube comments like throughout is just too much for me. I can't.
Gianni, let's take questions.
Yeah, let's take questions. Good shout. We've got 10 minutes left. Guys, get them in. We'll answer any question that's not from FPL fake Harry. Paul Cook. Oh, Paul, we can't go for a whole wildcard team, dude.
Yeah.
Have a look at Bigman'S.
Discuss the wildcard in detail. Yeah.
Yeah. That is Harry. That Harry is a Barry. He's more than just a Barry. There we go. Thoughts on Gordon instead of Richarlison? Don't hate it. Don't hate it at all.
The only issue there is that you'll get one less double, and you won't get the Luton fixture this week. So I still prefer Richarlison. Bakr, what is your route to Salah in 31? My route to Salah is likely going to be Son to Salah and Richarlison to Sarabia. Because I'm wildcarding in 35, I don't have to hold the Spurs players, so I'm fine selling them. As mentioned earlier, Wolves have a good fixture against Burnley next week, and then they're playing West Ham at home in 33 as well. And then in 34, they have a double. And Sarabia is likely going to be nailed in Neto's absence. And he will have a share of the set pieces as well. So he's fine for his price.
You'll be benching
wildcard him out
then
in 35.
What you'll be benching Watkins to play Sarabia some weeks. Like you'll be keeping Watkins. So Watkins versus Man City, you'll play Sarabia over him.
Of course, I don't want to play Watkins against Man City.
Yeah, and same against Arsenal, 33.
I think I'll sell Watkins. No, I'll sell Watkins to Darwin in 33.
Oh, fine. Yeah. You don't fancy hitting that move in 31? You're worried about Darwin minutes, rightly so, probably. Let's see how he plays in 30.
It's the minutes, that's the issue, and it's a hit. And then Watkins has Brentford at home in 32 as well, which is fine, I think.
Yeah, fair. How do you deal with triple Spurs in 34 if you don't have free hit? Well, you simply sell. Like I think you sell one.
If you don't have free hit, then and this is assuming that if you have the wild card later, it's not a problem. But if you don't have the wild card, then you have no other option but to sell them and then to buy them back basically later.
Yeah.
Bradley Udogie this week, I prefer. I mean, Udogie is better, but it's a 1 week punt, is it? Oh, it's Bradley. A 1 week punt.
Yeah, 31 wildcard.
Udogie.
I'd go Bradley.
Spurs have better clean sheet odds, and Brighton are the sort of team which generally score. So I would go with Udogie. Is Saka out? No, but what are your thoughts on Chilwell? Chilwell is fine. He didn't start the previous game, but if he's fit, then I guess he's fine. But he's pricey. That's the only issue with Chilwell. When you're getting Gusto for much less, Gusto is the one who appeals more.
I'd be worried about how Pochettino has trust issues with Chilwell. There are games you will see Colwell at left back. Robinson or Aït-Nouri for Wolves' fixtures. Robertson's been amazing, but Aït-Nouri for goal threat is better.
Is no Haaland on free hit 34 viable? I think if I was free hitting in Gameweek 34, I wouldn't pick Haaland because I think they're better players to own in that fixture, in that game week. What are your thoughts on Jackson?
He's Chelsea? My captain. He's my captain in FPL Challenge, big man.
Is he? Yeah. I think Jackson will actually be popular after Gameweek 34. When we wildcard, because Chelsea are doubling twice, I think Jackson will be popular.
Yeah, 9 yellow cards is an issue, but you got 8 of them in the first 10 game weeks. FPL Challenge, big man. What's your take? I mean, it's a bit of fun.
It's a bit of fun, exactly. I mean, I'm not taking it as seriously as FPL. It's just a bit of fun. I've made a team. I like the 5 quota rule per club. It means that you can just go all out and invest in a fixture of your choice. And particularly this week with unlimited budget, I've just maxed out on Spurs. I've gone hell for leather, getting Son, Maddison, Richarlison, Porro, Doggy, chasing that Luton upside.
Yeah, I've literally picked players from Fulham, Chelsea, Liverpool. I think that's it. And Spurs. I've got 4 teams represented in my 15.
Sean is asking, are you guys worried come Gameweek 35 everyone's team will be template, especially with people with free hit 34 left as well, going to be very hard to improve rank. Game week 35, 36. What do you guys think? I agree with you to quite a big extent, because given how the fixtures have fallen, and given that the likes of Chelsea, Spurs will be doubling after game week 34, of course the significant majority of managers will have 6 players from them, so it will be tricky. Having said that, I still think there will be 1 or 2 slots where you can differentiate. But yes, I do agree generally that if you're looking to make big gains, that's difficult. But again, I think you need to realize that the YouTube bubble or the Twitter bubble is a small minority of FPL managers, and it's not as big. So the engaged managers, I still think, will gain because of their effective strategies. For example, the bench boost in 37, I think, will be very effective. It will go big. So there will be gains to be made. But I agree, it's not as big as what you generally tend to see in let's say the rest of the seasons. Finn is asking thoughts on Sarabi and Sarah Garnacho, like that he's on pens. He's only on pens if Cunha is not fit, and if Cunha is back in training, it's likely that Cunha is on pens.
Yeah, and Wolves don't score that many, especially with no Hwang in the team. Their firepower is weakened. Start Foden or Gibbs White. Foden, I'd still start, I think.
Foden, easily. I think he has big potential against Arsenal. I mean, he has bigger potential than Gibbs White. I was just surprised that Gibbs White got me something against Luton last week. I won't bank on him every week. He isn't the best of picks.
Yeah. Gary says, make a challenge mini league, please, chasing green arrows. We definitely will do, and we'll advertise it on Friday. And each week, maybe we'll just show the winning team, and we'll talk 10 minutes on challenge or something. But yeah,
Johnny,
stay tuned for that.
Share the code with me as well, so that I can beat you over there, like I do in FPL.
I'll see you in game week 38, mate. Yeah, you're putting your team looks better than mine this week as well, with regret. So yeah,
it's similar, man. It's similar. I mean, in a way, because our chip strategies are similar, I think it's going
to be hard now.
It's going to be difficult to sort of gain rank, but it's still 25 points, I think, something similar to that. So you never know, 1 or 2 differentials coming through, 1 or 2 different captains, especially in a double game week, and you might be flying. One Tottenham, I don't understand the question.
Yeah, not sure, Nikesh. At the moment, I'd be all right with just Son, I think. Guys, we are going to... Yeah, thanks, Terminator. I have just checked my bank and I can't see £100. But if you do want to support me and pay my $2.99 membership fee on the Gianni Battici YouTube show, for your $2.99, you can ask me as many questions a month as you want, and I will get back to you in the YouTube comments. So go find that and sign up. Guys, that's all we've got time for this week. Thank you so much for watching. Hit the like and subscribe button on your way out, will you? Big man,
Johnny,
good luck this week.
It's been a pleasure joining you. I've really enjoyed this episode, especially because we've streamed after a long time. And I hope this game week brings a lot of joy to all of us. And yeah, good luck for the game week to Gianni and everyone.
Let's make those arrows green, team. We'll see you on Friday for more. Me and Big Man will be back. Maybe not next Wednesday. It might be next Tuesday, because there's a Tuesday deadline, Big Man. We might want to move
Tuesday deadline, yeah.
To Tuesday lunchtime.
Monday or Tuesday, yeah, probably.
Yep. Cool. All right. Good stuff, guys. We'll see you next Tuesday. Me and Big Man, me and Dean on Friday. Take care. See you soon. Bye-bye.